published, 8:45 EDT, the 10th of May 2018, updated, 13:27 EDT, the 10th of May 2018. A teenager plotted with her mother and sister to launch ISIS-inspired terror attacks at the British Museum or in Westminster after she was prevented from becoming a jihadi bride in Syria, a court has heard. In Britain's first alleged all-female terror plot, 18-year-old Safar Bulla, from Vauxhall, South London, is accused planning an atrocity in the capital with her mother Mina Dick and older sister Islane Bulla, 21. Her sister, of Clerkenwell, central London, has already admitted planning an attack in Westminster, allegedly involving knives, the Old Bailey was told. Safar Bulla is accused of plotting terror attacks in London with her mother and sister Bulla, pictured, front left, at a younger age, allegedly plotted with sister Islane, back in left image, and their mother Mina Dick, right in left-hand image. Bulla had previously planned but failed to join ISIS fighter fiancé Naweed Hussein, right, in Syria. The court heard investigators bugged her mother's home and taped conversations revealed Bulla's plans, the court heard. The recorded conversations included some from the day of the Westminster Bridge attack on March 22 last year, when 5 people were killed using a car and knife. Bulla told her mother, and UK were boasting about this will never happen to them. I am sorry, but they were boasting. They can't boast about it, we're all in danger. She asked, can we go there, adding, I wanna go take some flowers down there, before laughing, the court heard. Bulla had initially planned to travel to Syria and become a suicide bomber with her ISIS fighter fiancé Naweed Hussein, and depart the world holding hands, and taking others with them, the Old Bailey was told. But when Hussein was killed in Syria, she switched her plans to Britain, the court heard. It is claimed that she had previously made plans to join Hussein in Syria and booked a flight to Istanbul. Her support for him would extend to each of them donning a suicide belt, Duncan Atkinson QC told the court. Together they would, as Hussein put it, depart this world holding hands and taking others with them in an act of terrorism, he said. Islane Bulla, left, has already admitted planning an attack in Westminster with the help and support of their mother Mina Dick, right. The jury was told Bulla allegedly struck up a friendship with an ISIS female recruiter, Maiso al-Amriki, based in Aleppo, and would retweet ISIS material posted by her, and they later spoke on Telegram, the court heard. Al-Amriki, who was married to an ISIS fighter, was killed in a drone strike in May 2016. Bulla had developed a group of contacts within ISIS through her, and received videos of executions and propaganda, jurors were told. During one chat, Hussein asked Bulla how she would kill President Barack Obama if you had the choice, the court heard. She told him, shake my hand with Mr. President, and sent 2 images of explosions. During one chat, on the 16th of August 2016, they discussed marriage, having children and the £3,000 Hussein had sent to fund their travel, the court heard. Prosecutor Duncan Atkinson QC told the court Bulla had communicated with ISIS loyalists. Hussein told her that belts are a must, adding, "Don't ever be hesitant to pull the pin. Her honor is worth more than any Kafir's life." When Safar asked, "Does the pin make me go?" he replied, "Yes, straight away." In a later message, she said, "When they're teaching me how to use it, inshallah don't actually pull the pin." Hussein then told her, "It is us versus," followed by a photo of former US President Barack Obama. This was not a conversation in which Mr. Hussein was bullying Safar or tricking her, said Mr. Atkinson. This was a conversation in which she was signing up to what he was suggesting. The Old Bailey were told she planned to attack people at random at the British Museum when Hussein was killed on April 4 last year. She allegedly arranged to receive weapons in order to conduct an attack in the UK, and received instructions on how to train and use weapons, the court heard. Mr. Atkinson told the Old Bailey, based on her preparation and discussion, it appears she planned to launch an attack against members of the public, selected largely at random, in the environs of that cultural jewel and most popular of tourist attractions, the British Museum, in central London. This would have been an attack that would, at the very least, have caused widespread panic, but was intended to involve the infliction of serious injury and death. She also told a police officer posing as an ISIS fighter that all she needed was a car and a knife to get what I want to achieve, the court heard. After Safar, 18, was remanded in custody, she encouraged her older sister to carry out an attack instead, referring it to as a party, it was said. Bula, 18, sat in the docket there. Old Bailey next to a custody officer. She denies terror as a prosecutor. Mr. Atkinson said Bula had intended to carry out an attack using a Tokarov, a type of Russian pistol, or a grenade, referred to as pineapples'. Mr. Atkinson told the Old Bailey, this was therefore a plan to unleash violence and terror in the heart of London, and more particularly at a location busy with members of the public and tourists. Bula allegedly told an undercover officer Hussein she mentioned something about a British museum and the Tokarov and pineapple. Bula was remanded into Medway Secure Training Unit in Kent on April 12, but phone calls with her older sister and their mother showed the plan was to be handed over to Rise Lane. Within a week they were discussing having a party, which the prosecution suggested was code for a terrorist attack. Rise Lane. Bula later told her they would be having a party on April 27, the court heard. Bula joked about putting flowers in Westminster after last year's terror attack. The jury heard references were made to recipes, too. What people would wear, as well as to Mad Hatter's Tea Party and Alice in Wonderland, jurors were told. The prosecutor said, Rise Lane. Bula admitted she was going to carry out an attack on that day. On April 25, Rise Lane and her mother went on a reconnaissance journey around the major landmarks in Westminster and the next day bought a pack of knives, including one with a 6-inch blade, and a rucksack, jurors heard. In his opening speech, defense barrister Joel Benathan QC said, Safar Bula was groomed. She was a child who was sexually groomed. Someone who was groomed to be radicalized. That's what happened to this young person. She was at the age of 15 in ill health with badly controlled diabetes, from an unhappy, very difficult home background. An unloved 15-year-old when suddenly she found new friends. Investigators listened into calls Bula made from Medway Secure training unit in Kent, but the woman she had befriended was actually an ISIS recruiter, jurors heard. She also found a man, Naweed Hussain, who appeared to like her and love her, the QC added. But he was a married man in his 30s with ISIS in Syria. He made it his business to recruit and radicalize women. A number of women over the internet, sexually groomed we say, Mr. Benathan said. He added, you might think she suddenly got what she never got before, which was approval, warmth, admiration and love. Even with a very normal teenager talking on their phone, it's probably a mix of some truth, some exaggeration, some make-believe fantasies about what they think will impress people. You really can't take what she is saying literally, as the prosecution would have you do. He said the evidence of her allegedly plotting a UK attack doesn't get close to showing she had the real genuine intention. He added, did her family stop this process happening? No, they encouraged it, they celebrated it. Safar denies 2 charges of preparing acts of terrorism between January 1, 2016 and April 13, 2017. Her mother, Mina Dick, 44, and sister Islaine Bula, 22, previously pleaded guilty preparing acts of terrorism. Sorry, we are not currently accepting comments on this article.